It's time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, Sportsnet LA presents the Dodgers as they take on the Seattle Mariners. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Monday evening to you, wherever you may be. The Dodgers and the Mariners, boy, have they played each other close. They've had 14 meetings. Each team has beaten the other team 7 times. They each have hit 121 base hits against the other team. And as far as runs are concerned, over those 14 games, the Mariners have scored 62 and the Dodgers have scored 61. So with that kind of a pass, it figures to be a great night and a wonderful series. On the mound for Seattle, big left-hander, he's 6'4", James Paxton out of British Columbia, and he did something last year that no pitcher had done in 100 years. He had made his debut, and by the time he was in August, his record was 6 wins, no losses, and an earned run average of 1.8. How'd he do his first time out? Well, he was outpitched by C.J. Wilson of the Angels, who beat him 2-0 this year. On the mound for the Dodgers, the veteran right-hander, Brandon McCarthy. McCarthy went 5 innings, nailed the San Diego Padres, so he'll be looking for his second win. The Dodgers have split their 6th. They're 1 back of Colorado. The Mariners have split 6, and they're tied with Houston. So game 1 of the 3-game series coming up. Pull up a chair. Stick with us for the night. Up comes the ball game and a whole lot more right after this.
That the Dodgers have opened interleague play. Hello, everybody, and welcome inside Dodger Stadium. I'm Alana Rizzo. It was a mystery, but we do now know who will start the game for the Dodgers tomorrow against Taijuan Walker of the Mariners. It will be the left-hander David Huff. Don Mattingly saying earlier today that after looking at the Mariners, he thought the lefty was the best option. There has not been a corresponding roster move named yet. We will find that out tomorrow. It could very likely be Darwin Barney, who is one of the few players in the
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Monday evening to you, wherever you may be. Welcome to Dodger Stadium, a lovely evening, and the prospects of a dandy ball game between the Dodgers and the Seattle Mariners. Brandon McCarthy slowly making his way to the mound. McCarthy, as you know, went 5, and now Lloyd McClendon and his ball club getting squared away. And we'll take a look at his lineup for Lloyd. It starts off with Dustin Ackley in center field. Seth Smith, you may remember from his days in the National League, is in left. Robinson Cano at second base. Nelson Cruz in right. Kyle Seager at third base. His brother is one of the top prospects in the Dodger organization. Logan Morrison at first base. Mike Zunino, the catcher. Brad Miller, the shortstop. And James Paxton, the pitcher. For the Dodgers, Brandon McCarthy making his second start, went 5 innings, beat the Padres. He has struggled in his career against the Seattle Mariners. However, he had a stretch, his last few, 1-4 against the Mariners with a great earned run average of 2.0. So let's see what he does now against Dustin Ackley. The leadoff hitter, formerly an infielder, a second baseman playing center field, and takes low, ball 1, 1-0. Ackley off to a good start, hitting .357. Left-hand batter, check swing, takes a strike, and the count 1-1. 67 degrees. Light breeze moving the flags in center field. And for the Dodgers, game number 4 at home, number 7 of the year. Roller to the right side. Howie Kendrick will make the play. And just like that, Ackley rolls out, and we have one away. Take a look at the Dodgers with the leather. Gonzalez and Kendrick, Barney and Guerrero. Barney giving Jimmy Rollins a day off. Van Slyke in left against a left-hander. Jock Peterson in center. Puig in right. And Ellis handling McCarthy. So with one away, Darwin Barney, who was a Gold Glove second baseman, but he's played a lot of short, moves over to the other side, to the familiar second base side, as the Dodgers load up the right side of the infield, and the pitch swung on and missed by Seth, and the count 0-1. So Seth Smith, who certainly knows his way around in the National League ballparks. Seth out of Jackson, Mississippi. Played a lot of football at the university, but never had a chance to play a regular game. He was the backup quarterback to Eli Manning for 3 years and never had a snap in a game. But he did play a lot of football in practice. Strike one pitch of the left-hand hitter. And by the way, 7 of the 9 in the lineup for the Mariners bat left-handed. So you have Ackley, Smith, and Cano. Then Cruz is right-handed. Seager and Morrison left-handed. Zunino is right-handed. Miller and the pitcher left-handed. Smith goes the other way to left field deep. Back goes Van Slyke and makes the running catch on the warning track. So it's interesting. They load up the right side of the infield, and he sends the left fielder to the track. And of course, with Scott Van Slyke making a full turn and finding the ball, his father is sitting in the Seattle dugout. His dad, at one time the first base coach, and Andy is now the assistant hitting coach. And his father was a marvelous defensive outfielder with one of the best arms you'd ever seen. So he shows Dad that he can go and get him. And we have 2 down in the first inning. And here is Robinson Cano taking a strike. The last time that Cano played here with the Yankees, he had a rather memorable game. Of course, when you watch him play, he's a memorable player. But that was back in 2010. Clayton Kershaw had given up 2 runs through 7 innings, and it was a really tough game as Cano fouls it away. Cano doubled, got one of the Yankee 4 runs off reliever Jonathan Broxton. That tied up the game 6-6. Broxton, in that struggling inning, made 48 pitches, and in the 10th inning, Cano homered against George Sherrill with a man aboard, and the Yankees won here 8-6. Cano, a line drive single to left field, and with 2 out, Nelson Cruz coming up. One other thing with Cano standing at first base with Adrian Gonzalez. Since 2007, two players have played more games than any other major leaguers, and they're together right now. Robinson Cano and Adrian Gonzalez have both played in 1,283 games going back to 2007. That would be tops in the big leagues. So Nelson Cruz, right-hand batter and a dandy, takes a pitch down and away, ball one. Cruz most recently a home run in the 10th inning to beat the Oakland A's. Seattle had back-to-back extra inning victories. So Cruz, 6'3", 240, a big man with a big bat, takes a look at an off-speed pitch for a strike, and the count 1-1. Nelson Cruz, 35 years old in July, from the Dominican Republic. He hit 40 home runs last year for the Baltimore Orioles. He had 108 runs batted in. Cano takes his lead, off-speed pitch, and Cruz way out in front of it, 1-2. A lot of people have picked Seattle to win the division, and one of the big reasons is the acquisition of Nelson Cruz. Now Lloyd McClendon has a big bat hitting behind Cano. Last year, Cano had to chase pitches sometimes to just try and get a good at bat. 1-2 pitch on the way. Instead, McCarthy jumps off the rubber. The outfield is split. Jock Peterson shading the right-hand hitter towards right center. Van Slyke deep in left, the same with Puig in right. And the next pitch is whacked to deep right field. On the dead run is Puig. This one is going to go into the seats for a home run. And just like that, Seattle is out in front, 2-0. And it figures that great 1-2 punch. Cano a single to left, and Cruz a home run to right. And the Dodgers find themselves in a hole immediately.
Kyle Seager.
So for the Dodgers, tough way to start a homestand, having lost the last 2 out of 3 in Arizona. So Cruz, the big man who hit 40 last year, is able to carry the ball into the right field corner for the home run. For Cruz, his 3rd home run of the year, and just like that, Mariners out in front. So here's Kyle Seager, and again the Dodgers load up the right side, and Seager takes a strike. Fine young ball player, left-hand hitter. Seager waiting off to a slow start, takes the next pitch, and that evens the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Seager last year won a Gold Glove. He's an even 6, 195 out of Charlotte, North Carolina. 2-0 Mariners. The next pitch is inside under the hands, and they count 2 balls and 1 strike. Everybody who has ever seen Kyle play feels that he is a cinch to have a very long and very successful career. The 2-1 pitch in there, 2-2 the count. Take all the third basemen last year in the major leagues, and he was second in RBIs to Josh Donaldson. Josh had 98. Kyle had 96. He also hit 25 home runs and batted .268. Seager has been with the Mariners since 2011. The 2-2 pitch on the way, and the left-hand hitter swings and misses, and down he goes. But not before the Mariners get on the boards. A 2-out single by Cano, a home run by Cruz, and James Paxton out of British Columbia making his way to the mound at the end of half an inning. Seattle 2 and the Dodgers coming up. He's homered now in 3 straight games. And take a look now at the Dodger lineup to see how they can bounce back. Darwin Barney opens up at short. Yasiel Puig in right. Adrian Gonzalez at first. Hendrick at second. Van Slyke in left. Guerrero at third. Peterson in center. Ellis behind the plate. Brandon McCarthy on the mound. On the mound, James Paxton, big fella, 6'4", 220, out of British Columbia, and his first pitch in for a strike. He's from a small town, Ladner, which is a suburb of Vancouver, and maybe about 2 hours from Seattle. Paxton comes back 0-1, fastball low. He is basically a sinker baller, gets a lot of ground balls. So if he's on his game, the young man out of the University of Kentucky will keep his infield very busy. Yep, there's a ground ball to third. Seager is up with it, makes the play, and that'll do it for Darwin Barney. And we have one away here in the first inning.
Number 66.
Yasiel Puig coming up. Before he does, a look at the Mariners. Logan Morrison, Robin Cano on the right side. Brad Miller, Kyle Sager on the left side. Nelson Cruz, Dustin Ackley, Seth Smith in the outfield. Mike Zunino behind the plate. James Paxton on the mound. The batter now, Yasiel Puig. Puig last May really caught on fire, but that fire has really come down since. You may not remember, but last May in 28 games he had 8 home runs, 25 runs batted in. He was off to a fantastic start. 1-0 pitch, chopper up the middle, off the glove of the pitcher, delivered by Miller, throws to first in time for the out. So give the starting pitcher, James Paxton, give him a boost and an assist. Play goes 1-6-3, 2 down, and Adrian Gonzalez coming up. Another look, Brad Miller on the dead run makes the play. So we have 2 down in the first inning, and here is Adrian Gonzalez. Adrian, the player of the week. What a week. 5 home runs, 7 RBIs, and a .609 batting average. Roy Campanella, back in the Brooklyn days, had a streak of 7 games in a row where he hit a home run. Paxton ready. Left-hander, all extensive arms. Boy, you really catch it when you're looking at him. Like a revolving door out there. 1 ball and no strikes. Adrian waiting, and the 1-0 pitch on the way. Paxton back with a good sinking fastball and a strike. 1-1. Paxton looks over the fingertips of his glove. Left-hander delivers. Fastball hit in the air to center. Very playable. Dustin Ackley is there, and the Dodgers go 1-2-3. So at the end of an inning, thanks to a 2-run home run by Nelson Cruz, at the end of 1, it's 2-0 Seattle. 2-0 in favor of Seattle. We go to the second inning, and it'll be Logan Morrison, followed by Mike Zunino and then Brad Miller. Brandon McCarthy stung by the home run by Nelson Cruz. Morrison, another left-handed batter, takes a strike, and the count 0-1. Morrison, well put together, 6'3", 230, out of Kansas City, but he lives now in Jupiter, Florida. And the strike one pitch, a little roller foul outside of first down the line. Logan, born in Kansas City, grew up idolizing George Brett, and finally breaks in as a first baseman. Brandon McCarthy, pretty much from the first base side of the rubber, back with a fastball fouled away. Morrison, as you might expect, big man. His father played a year of football. His dad even bigger at 6'4" and 260. His father wanted him to be a pitcher and build a pitcher's mound in the backyard, but he turns out to be a first baseman. Check swing, and the count now goes to 1-2 strikes. The Marlins had a lot of money invested in him. He was the minor league player of the year back in 2008. Now the 1-2 pitch on the way, reached for, hit down the left field line. It's going to be a base hit. Backhanded by Van Slyke. Morrison for two. The throw is there waiting for him. So Logan Morrison singles to left, and Scott Van Slyke shows you the genes from his dad, racing into the corner to backhand the base hit, and then wiping out the chance of a double with a strong, accurate arm right to the bag into Howie Kendrick. Great play. So single, Morrison out, 7-4, and we have one down here in the second inning. So McCarthy has given up 3 hits to the last 4 batters, and he's down 2-0. Take another look. The breaking ball is low at 94 to Mike Zunino. 2-0 in favor of Seattle. We mentioned at the start how even these teams have been. 1-0 pitch on the way is taken inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Mike Zunino is very successful, and vice versa, when James Paxton pitches, so he is in there. Right hand hitter, and the 2-0 pitch to Mike is taken down and away, ball 3. So 3-0 the count to Mike Zunino. So Brandon McCarthy started out okay, got the first 2 hitters, then Cano singled and Cruz homered to right. 3-0 pitch on the way is swung on, hit in the air to left center, very playable. Peterson is there to pick it off. So they let the number 7 hitter in the lineup swing on a 3-0 pitch, and he flies to center for the second out.
Shortstop, Brad Miller.
Brad Miller coming up. Interesting how aggressive the Mariners are. Cano got a base hit on a no-ball 2-strike count. Nelson Cruz hit a home run on a 1-2 count, and Morrison got a base hit on a 1-2 pitch and then was nailed trying to stretch. So the 2-strike count doesn't mean a thing to this very aggressive club. Nelson Cruz explaining how the ball sinks. 0-1 the count. So Brad Miller, left-hand batter, swings, doesn't get it. Miller off to a good start, hitting .278 with a home run, 3 runs batted in. He's another big fella, 6'2", 185 pounds. And the next pitch swung on and fouled back. Do you know what stirrups are? Well, you have to look at a player's stockings in this day and age. And one thing for Brad Miller, he's probably the only player in the major leagues, and you can see the stirrups. Everybody else droopy draws down around the ankles. Here's the strike 2 pitch, swung on and missed. Stirrups or no, Miller strikes out. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. At the end of an inning and a half, thanks to a great throw, the chip off the old block. Scott Van Slyke showing you just what his dad Andy did for years with the Cardinals, throwing a runner out. And at the end of an inning and a half, 2-0, Seattle. It's like the proud father watching Scott come up to the plate in the moment. Among other things, Andy was not only a very good player, he has a terrific sense of humor. Might be as quotable a man as there is in a major league uniform. To give you an idea, when he was playing, they once asked him, Andy, do you have any superstitions? And Andy said, I don't have any. I think they're bad luck. That's Andy Van Slyke. Meanwhile, it'll be Howie Kendrick, then Scott Van Slyke, and Alex Guerrero. And the first pitch low to Howie, 1 ball and no strikes. One other note talking about Andy and the great arm. He had 115 career assists as an outfielder. Scotty got one tonight. Ground ball wide to third, smothered by Sager, gets up, throws low, and nails him anyway on a good stretch by Logan Morrison. So Kyle Sager doing what they say he does all the time, turning in another fine play. So we have 1 out in the second inning. And here's Scott Van Slyke. Scotty does very well, especially against left-handers. Last year hit .315. Hitting .297 last year overall. Had 11 home runs and takes low, ball 1. 1-0 the count. So Van Slyke, who made so many contributions last year, and he figures to get in a lot of work in left field or first base against left-hand pitching. The 1-0 pitch, and that's off the plate, ball 2. 2-0 the count. James Paxton, the big boy out of British Columbia, comes back 2 balls and no strikes, and he's low again, ball 3. 3-0. You know how they team up pitchers and catchers? Last year and in his career, he has an earned run average of 1.9 when Mike Zunino is behind the plate, and Mike's handling him right now. 3-0 pitch, high fastball for ball 4. So after a fine play to take a hit away by the ball hit by Howie Kendrick, there's a walk to Andy Van Slyke, and the batter now, Alex Guerrero. Made a start in Arizona and made the most of it. He had 3 hits, including his first major league home run, and 4 runs batted in. And against a left-hander Perez, he got a breaking ball and hit a no doubt about it over the wall, probably around 400 feet away by the time it went in. So the Dodgers know Guerrero can hit. And the first pitch swung on, foul back, fastball alley, and the count 0-1. That fastball, by the way, from Paxton, 94 miles an hour. Paxton, very much of a ground ball pitcher. Last year, not quite 2 ground balls for every ball hit in the air. Left-hander ready, looks over at Van Slyke. Now to the plate, breaking ball swung on and missed, and the count 0-2. Guerrero backs out for the moment. Playing third base, we understand that Juan Uribe is ready to play, and Justin Turner should be ready as well. Paxton has a sinker that can be clocked at 94, and the four-seamer that really takes off, works it down and away, and that'll be that. He has a curveball, cutter, and a change, and Guerrero saw a lot of the breaking balls to strike out. So 2 down. Jock Peterson coming up. Peterson yesterday hit his first major league home run against Arizona. That ball carried deep in the 413 feet area. So that's where the big boys hit him. 2-0 in favor of Seattle on the home run to right field. That's a rarity for Nelson Cruz. Paxton ready. Here he comes, and that's foul back, and the count 0-1. So young Jock Peterson doing okay, hitting .286. Home run batted in. Up there now with 2 down. Van Slyke at first, held on by Logan Morrison. Paxton comes back off speed, big slow breaking ball at 81. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. I'm watching Paxton to see if he throws to first. We haven't seen but 1 man get on base, and it's Van Slyke, and he hasn't thrown over there. Now he comes back and misses down and away, ball 2. Interesting, because there was a game earlier this year. The St. Louis Cardinals played the Chicago Cubs, and John Lester, the left-hander for the Cubs, pitched the game and never threw to first base. Here's the 2-1 pitch on the way. Paxton looking at first, now to the plate. Fastball pulled right to the first baseman, Morrison. He's on the bag, and that'll be that. There were 2 outs, but Morrison throws down to second anyway. So no runs, no hits, a man left, and at the end of 2, it's 2-0 Seattle. Top of the 3rd inning, 2-0 in favor of Seattle. A 2-out single by Robinson Cano and a home run to right field by Nelson Cruz. James Paxton, the pitcher, will start it off. Then it'll be Dustin Ackley and Seth Smith. Paxton, big boy, as we mentioned, pitcher all the way, went to the University of Kentucky, originally drafted by the Blue Jays, but held on in school until the Mariners. And the first pitch to James in for a strike, and the count 0-1. Paxton waits, bent slightly at the waist, gives you a good strike zone. McCarthy delivers, and it's swung on and missed, and the count 0-2. McCarthy gave up that 2-run home run to Cruz, and Seattle leading on it. Now the strike 2 pitch, chased and missed, pitch up out of the zone, and Paxton strikes out, and we have one down. Third strikeout for McCarthy. You know, in celebration of the great Jackie Robinson, Dodgers and Mariners Wednesday at 7:10, and the first 40,000 fans in attendance receive an adult Jackie Robinson replica jersey presented by Bank of America. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. So with one away, here's Dustin Ackley. Grounded out first trip. Dustin takes low, ball 1, 1-0 the count. Dustin Ackley had Tommy John surgery, even though he was an outfielder and a second baseman. Had surgery when he was in high school. The 1-0 pitch, soft flare foul, and the count 1-1. Which reminds me, they have come up with modern science, and maybe it's going to help a lot of kids. It is a sleeve made of Lycra, and you would put it on your throwing arm. We'll tell you more about that sleeve in a moment. The 1-1 pitch on the way is swung on and fouled off to the left and out of play, and the count 1-2. Inside the sleeve there is a 3D chip, and it covers, there are 6 sensors in the chip. They put it so that it is right by the ulnar collateral ligament, and when you make a throw, it records all kinds of things to try to prevent damage. The next pitch, check swing, no swing, says Chad Fairchild, and they count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Just did hold back. So 2-2 the count to Dustin Ackley. 27 years old, out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. 2-2 pitch on the way. Ackley waves at it. Down he goes. So that would be 3 consecutive strikeouts for McCarthy and 4 strikeouts thus far in the game. And the batter now, Seth Smith, who flied to left field in the first inning. And I mean, they had loaded up the infield on the right side. They moved Puig more towards the line. They moved Peterson slightly to right center. But Scott Van Slyke plays straight away, and he wound up catching it on the track right near the Dodger bullpen gate in left field. So the first pitch, big overhand breaking ball that misses. 1 ball and no strikes to Seth Smith. Seth back up and waiting, and the 1-0 pitch on the way. He takes off speed, breaking ball for a strike, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Brandon McCarthy, who had that rarity, struck out the side on 9 pitches. You don't see that happen very often. Breaking ball rolled to the right side. Barney comes across the bag to make the play. So with the team overloaded on the right side, Barney, the shortstop, throws him out. And at the end of 2.5 innings, 2-0 in favor of Seattle. Here's 2-0, and the Dodgers will have A.J. Ellis, then Brandon McCarthy, and Darwin Barney trying to come back against James Paxton. A.J. Ellis, 3 home runs, 25 RBIs last year, and trying to get started this year. A.J. 0 for 6. So the catcher waits Paxton into the windup. Here he comes, and the fastball for a strike, and they count 0-1. They tell stories about Paxton pitching in the Little League, Pee Wee baseball, and he was just too big for the room and the ballpark. The strike 1 pitch, fastball swung on and missed. They said, for instance, he would throw 2 fastballs for strikes. Then he would throw his curveball, and they couldn't get a catcher to catch the curveball. He'd strike out 4 and 5 kids in an inning. Here's the strike 2 pitch on the way. Fastball, just show it to him at 94. And the count 1-2. Picked up his first major league victory in September of 2013. Ellis fouls it off. That was not a happy occasion. He picked up the win about 12 hours after learning his grandfather had died in nearby Vancouver. But he went out there, pitched the gem, and got his win. 1-2 the count. James ready, and his 1-2 pitch coming up, and he bounces that. So they count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Game 1 of the 3-game series. Hisashi Iwakuma against David Huff. Yes, David Huff. They're bringing him up from Oklahoma City to pitch tomorrow night. Now the 2-2 pitch on the way. Fastball hit in the air to right field, reasonably deep. The Cruz is there to pick it off. So Ellis a fly ball, and we have 1 down in the 3rd inning. The concluding game with Seattle will be Wednesday. Taiwan Walker against the left-hander Brett Anderson. 1 away. Dodgers have had 1 base runner. That was the walk to Van Slyke. Paxton looks to Zunino. Left-hander delivers. Fastball strike. 0-1. McCarthy at 6'7" gives you a very big strike zone. And the strike 1 pitch on the way. Swung on and missed. 94 miles an hour. No reason to let up on a pitcher. Paxton has 1 strikeout. McCarthy has 4, and Paxton's leading 2-0. The next pitch, breaking ball, is swung on and missed. It's kind of unfair with 2 fastballs and the curve. Strikeout number 2 for Paxton, and the batter will be Darwin Barney. Barney grounded to 3rd in the 1st inning. Barwin playing shortstop. Don Mattingly giving Jimmy Rollins a chance to catch his breath and take the game off. Paxton ready, and his first pitch to Barney is taken inside, tight to the thighs. 1 ball and no strikes. Paxton, quick worker. He's ready to come right back. 1-0. Fastball in for a strike. Outside corner, 1-1. So he's got that sinking fastball at 94. When he lets that high fastball go, that'll get up there around 98 occasionally. 1-1 pitch on the way. Swung on. Ground ball wide to 3rd. In fact, Miller is up with it. Guns it to 1st in time for the out. Down go the Dodgers. 5 in a row retired by Paxton. And at the end of 3, it's Seattle 2 and the Dodgers nothing. Is brought to you by the 2015 Jeep Cherokee. With an EPA estimated 31 highway MPG, it's the perfect choice. Visit Jeep.com today. Seattle leading the Dodgers 2-0. A battle between Brandon McCarthy and James Paxton. So far, the battle has been decided by the 2-run home run in the first inning by Nelson Cruz. Robinson Cano, with 2 out in the first inning, singled, and then Cruz hit 1 out. Interestingly enough, Cruz hit it to right field. So Cano 1 for 1. First pitch to Robinson is lifted to left field pretty deep. Back goes Van Slyke on the grass at the track, right at the box seats to make the catch in left field. So Cano, a long fly ball for an out. 1 down in the 4th. And here comes Cruz. Nelson Cruz has 200 career home runs now. But what was interesting, only 25 of 200 went to right field. So Nelson waiting at the plate. 3 home runs, 6 RBIs. Takes way inside ball 1, 1-0. One ball, no strikes. Cruz swings, whacks it to right center field and deep. That ball carrying, and it's going to clear the right field wall. So Nelson Cruz now has 201 home runs. He hit 40 home runs last year. And he's touching them all to give Seattle a 3-0 lead. Boy, what a hitter. That's one of the biggest reasons why they think Seattle will win the division. The acquisition, as Nelson Cruz just went down to get it, and he's so strong, he hit it in the seats in right center. So a home run to right and a home run to right center, and Cruz thrilled, of course, leading Seattle 3-0. McCarthy had already been burned on a 1-2 count, and going back over 700 at bats. First time he had given up a home run on a 1-2 count, but that was in the first inning. Cruz didn't waste much time in hitting 1 out in the 4th. Cruz homered in the 10th inning yesterday for the Mariners to beat Oakland. And another towering drive. Let's see how far it goes. That's the question. This thing is halfway up the pavilion in right field. So Kyle Seager hits it out, and now it is 4-0 Seattle on 3 home runs in the first 3 1/3 innings. Boy, was that thing skied out. So Cruz hits 2, Seager hits 1, and just like that, the Mariners 4 runs, 5 hits. No doubt about that bomb. Puig turned around immediately to figure out, I wonder how far that was going to go. So Kyle hits a big one, and it is 4-0 Mariners. The pitch now to Logan Morrison, who singled to left field in the second inning and was thrown out trying to stretch. So for Don Mattingly, the beginning of an awkward night. Behind early and behind 4-0. And the pitch to Morrison is low. 2 balls and no strikes. So the Mariners feel with Cano is now protected by Cruz. Cruz has Seager. That's a pretty good threesome. Cano, Cruz, and Seager. And it's 4-0 Seattle. We're in the 4th inning. Remember, these two teams had played each other pretty closely in the 14 previous games. Next pitch fouled away by Morrison. They had played 14 games. Each team had beaten the other 7 times. Over the same stretch, each team had 121 hits against the other. And in runs scored in the 14, Seattle had scored 62 and the Dodgers had scored 61. But the Dodgers are really going to have to get on their horse. They're down 4-0 as Morrison is called out on strikes. So Kyle Seager joins the home run parade. Meanwhile, 5 strikeouts for Brandon McCarthy, but it doesn't mean very much. Not when you're being whacked around. And the batter now, Mike Zunino. They let Mike swing 3-0 in the second inning, and he hit a fly ball to center field. Right-hand hitter, as you see, and ball 1. Mike Zunino from Coral Gables. His father, way back when, was a scout for the Marlins. That's a strike. Back in 2012, Zunino was named the College Player of the Year. Signed for a lot of money out of the University of Florida. I mean, a lot of money. I mean, you could back up the truck for the money. And you might need another truck. Yeah, he signed for a $4 million bonus. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count. The 1-2 pitch, half swing, he strikes out, and that will be the out. 6 strikeouts for Brandon McCarthy. That looks good until you check and realize he's allowed 3 home runs, 2 by Nelson Cruz, 1 by Kyle Seager, and the Mariners are sailing along 4-0. And fans in attendance receive a Clayton Kershaw themed fleece blanket. Compliments of security benefit. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. Interesting. Nelson Cruz has hit 2 home runs tonight. We mentioned that he homered in the 10th inning yesterday, and that's big news for the Mariners. Last year, only 2 major league teams did not hit an extra inning home run. The Cardinals, you guessed it, and the Mariners. And as far as Brandon McCarthy is concerned, the last time he allowed 3 home runs in a game, Cruz hit 1 of them. That was at Yankee Stadium. Meanwhile, the first pitch, a big bouncing curveball that hits home plate. 1 ball and no strikes the count. Yasiel Puig bounced one off the glove of Paxton, and he was thrown out by Miller. Flies open and hits one foul off first base. He's checking the bat. 1 ball and 1 strike to Yasiel Puig. The 1-1 pitch on the way, swung on, line drive, foul down the left field line. The Puig comes back, 1-2 the count. Yasiel struggling with just 3 hits, 20 some odd at bats. 1 of the 3 hits a home run. Left-hander Paxton back with a pitch at the feet of Puig. Big overhand curveball. Boy, the extension. You know how Paco Rodriguez extends his left arm out towards center field. Paxton the other way. I mean, he really extends that left arm, but more towards the sky, and he's 6'4". Right over the top. Fastball promptly banged into right field for a base hit. So a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, and Puig is on it. And the batter now will be Adrian Gonzalez.
23, Adrian Gonzalez.
For the Dodgers, the base hit by Puig is the first hit they've had tonight. Here's Gonzalez with Kendrick to follow. Adrian flied to center in the first inning. Puig short lead at first. 4-0 Mariners. First pitch, slow roller wide to first. Morrison down to Miller for one. Throw to first, not in time. So a force play 3-6 that will erase Puig. Nice play by Logan Morrison to erase Puig.
Number 47, Howie Kendrick.
Howie Kendrick robbed of a hit on a nice play by Kyle Seager. So Howie is 0 for 1. Kendrick with Van Slyke on deck. 4-0 Mariners. Fourth inning, 1 away. Fastball in the dirt. Nice block and save by Zunino. 1 ball and no strikes. Zunino very quick behind the plate. He's 24 years old. Meanwhile, Dodgers talking to Puig, Andre Ethier, Yasmani Grandal, and a high fly ball to right center, pretty deep. Going back for it is Orsted. It bounces away, fielded by the right fielder Cruz, and the Dodgers have runners at second and third. Dustin Ackley trying to get it, couldn't do it, and then the ball bounced off the base of the wall for a double, and the Dodgers with 1 out in business as Van Slyke will be coming up. To Howie Kendrick after a pretty good looking fastball, and the way the pitcher Paxton reacted, you thought it was just going to be a fly ball to the infield. He put his hand high in the air, but actually he was trying to help his outfielders. But Kendrick doubles, and the Dodgers have runners at second and third. So a big at bat now for Scott Van Slyke, who looks at the first pitch in for a strike, and the count 0-1. Van Slyke walked in the second inning. 0-1 the count. Paxton ready, and the strike one pitch. Scotty swings a little late, beats it foul off to the left, and the count now 0 balls and 2 strikes. We were talking about his dad, Andy. Andy had a tryout to be the weatherman on KDKA in Pittsburgh, and in his own words, it was a disaster. He was talking about the weather in Maine, but he was pointing to California. And finally, near the end of the weather forecast, he said, as for Cleveland, nobody cares what the weather's like in Cleveland. And he didn't make the show. So Andy stuck to baseball, no longer a tyro weatherman. 1-2 to his son. Scott waiting. And the 1-2 pitch coming up. Fastball in at the knuckles at 95. 2-2 the count. One out. Dodgers at second and third. They've had a single and a double in the inning. The only 2 hits so far off Paxton. 2-2 pitch on the way. Fastball check, swing, no swing, says Greg Gibson. So with first base open, the count runs 3-2, and Alex Guerrero is on deck. So Scotty just able to keep that bat back. So a full count. There's been 1 walk, and it was to Van Slyke in the second inning. Paxton ready and deals. Breaking ball fouled at the plate. Scott still there, 3-2. Seattle 4 runs, 5 hits on 3 home runs. 2 by Cruz, 1 by Seager. Boy, what a show they put on so far. 3-2 pitch taken in the dirt, and the bases are loaded for Alex Guerrero. Scott Van Slyke getting his second walk. So Zunino out to talk to Paxton. Bases loaded, 1 out.
Number 7, Alex
One thing
Guerrero.
Paxton has avoided. He gave up a home run, but it was the first one he had given up since August of last year. Guerrero coming up with a chance to get the Dodgers in the game. So timeout for the moment. 4 runs, 5 hits, and no errors for Seattle. No runs, 2 hits, and no errors for the Dodgers. Rick waits, out to the mound, comes back. Waits, American League pitcher, spent a career with Cleveland, and then finally came over to Milwaukee. All right, bases loaded, 1 out, and here's Guerrero. So Brandon McCarthy hoping a base hit will get him back in the game. Paxton pitching from the stretch. High fly ball to right field. It's playable. Cruz under it. All the runners tag. The catch is made. The throw is across the infield. And runners at second and third when the run scores. So Guerrero, a fly ball deep enough. Nelson Cruz tried to get it back, knowing that a run was going to score. But Kendrick was still able to go to third, and Van Slyke to second on the fly ball.
Number 31.
So Dodgers at second and third. It's 4-1 Seattle. And Jock Peterson coming up with first base open. Peterson grounded out to Logan Morrison. Young Jock hitting 7th. A.J. Ellis behind him, and then the pitcher. 4-1 favor of Seattle, but the Dodgers second and third, and a chance to really get back into it. In the dirt, nice save by Zunino. Boy, he's very impressive. Take another look. If that gets by, of course, it's a run and a tough pitch, but he gloved it. He didn't just knock it down. One and 0 the count. Paxton ready and delivers. Swung on, fouled off to the left upstairs. Good fastball at 94. I think he's thrown one pitch at 95, and that was to Scott Van Slyke. So 1 ball and 1 strike. Howie Kendrick down the line from third. Van Slyke away from second with 2 out. The next pitch is low. 2-1 the count. You know, and looking at Zunino, his father, Greg, played at the University of California, Berkeley, and then the Yankees signed him, and he spent a couple of years in the minor leagues, then went and played professionally in Italy. Here's a 2-1 pitch, line drive, base hit to left field. In comes Kendrick. Here comes the throw to the plate. It's wide. The run will score by Van Slyke on a single by Peterson. It's 4-3 Seattle. So Jock Peterson, a clean line drive single. Seager tried to make a stab at it, couldn't get close enough to it, and 2-run score. Van Slyke beats the throw from Seth Smith, which was up the line. No chance to get Scotty. So Peterson brings the Dodgers right back into a tough 1-run game. Mariners 4, Dodgers 3, and here's A.J. Ellis. He is the 7th man to come to the plate. Fastball fouled away off to the right. You talk about the high hard one, but with Paxton, you get that low hard one. 4 runs, 5 hits for Seattle, 3 runs, 3 hits, and a big walk for the Dodgers. The next pitch is taken in the dirt, and there's Zunino again all over it. Interesting, we were talking about his dad, Greg, playing professionally in Italy. Well, his dad, Greg, met his mom, who was a catcher for the Italian national softball team. Born to catch. 1 ball and 1 strike. Paxton delivers, swung on, high fly ball, very playable. Nelson Cruz is there and puts it away. So Ellis, for the second time, a fly ball to right, but a clutch single by Jock Peterson. A big play by Van Slyke to score. It was also the double by Kendrick, put it all together, and the Dodgers get 3. And at the end of 4, Seattle 4, Dodgers 3. LA is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Jack's hottest sandwich is back. Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's blazing chicken sandwich. And by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Choose Nissan.com. The Dodgers battle back within 1. It's Seattle 4, Dodgers 3. Brandon McCarthy has struck out a half a dozen, but he's given up 3 home runs, and he's had 2 strikes on the hitter twice. Nelson Cruz 1 and 2 hit a home run. Morrison and Cano base hits 0 and 2. Little foul ball off the bat of Brad Miller, and then the key base hit by Jock Peterson to tighten up the game. Brad Miller out of Orlando, Florida, went to Clemson. His father played baseball at Northern Iowa. Miller, left-hand hitter, and the count 0 and 2. Back in 2011, Brad was awarded as the top college baseball shortstop in the nation. 0 and 2. 1 and 2 the count. Give you an insight into what kind of a player Miller is. He was named the Mariners Heart and Soul Award winner in 2012. Now the 2-2 pitch. Ball 3. The farm director, with Paxton waiting on deck, the farm director of the Mariners, talking about the Sox. He says he would have been great with the Reds in the 70s. Ground ball to the hole. Barney has to go back to get it and throws him out. The Reds in the 70s, the big red machine, and the pun intended. He shows a lot of sock. One away, and here's the pitcher, James Paxton. Paxton struck out back in the 3rd inning. McCarthy has half a dozen. Fastball for a strike. 0-1 to James. Oh, and 2. Hisashi Iwakuma and David Huff tomorrow night. Taiwan Walker, Brett Anderson, the concluding game of the series. Thursday, the off day, and then Colorado. And down goes Paxton. 7 strikeouts for McCarthy. And with 2 out, Dustin Ackley, who has grounded out and struck out, coming up. Well, there's no doubt about it. The big roadblock for McCarthy is Messrs. Cano, Cruz, and Seager. Cano has a single, Cruz 2 home runs, Seager a home run. 0-1 the count. Pretty good combination, Cano and Cruz. No balls, 1 strike. That's just off the plate with the fastball. 1-1. Dustin Ackley's dad played in the Red Sox organization, and he hits one a mile to right center field, and that one's gone. No doubt about it. 4 home runs given up by Brandon McCarthy, and it is 5-3 Mariners. The only consolation, the bases were empty. So Dustin Ackley, who had 14 home runs last year, hits it out. He was a 3-time All-American out of North Carolina when he was in college. Boy, he got that thing, no doubt about it. So 5 runs on 4 home runs. One of the 4 home runs, it was a man aboard. So for McCarthy, he's gotten by cheaply enough. Not a ball thrown in the Dodger bullpen yet. And a strike to Seth Smith. Waiting on deck, Robinson Cano. And following Cano, Nelson Cruz. Those who followed the Mariners last year were saying how difficult it was for Robinson Cano. They would just try to pitch around him, and he'd have to go after pitches out of the strike zone, pitches he didn't want to chase but forced to. But now Cano has Cruz hitting behind him, and he's going to see some good pitches. That's a pretty impressive 1-2-3 punch. Cano, Cruz, and Seager. Meanwhile, Seth Smith, no balls, 2 strikes. Ball 1. Nelson Cruz has 2 home runs tonight. He has over 200 in his career now. Seth Smith flied to left, grounded to short. Even though the Dodgers have loaded up the right side, Smith has gone the other way. And this time he goes to right field. Puig going back, looking up at the track, and makes the catch for the out. So McCarthy, interestingly, has struck out 7, but he's not fooling the good hitters. And he gives up his 4th home run. Last time he did that was back in 2005 against the Texas Rangers. It's 5-3 Seattle. Go behind the scenes as Adrian Gonzalez receives the Gold Glove and Silver Slugger awards. Plus, newcomer Chris Hatcher spends his first opening day on a Major League roster. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers. That'll be Thursday at 7 p.m. on Sportsnet LA. Brandon McCarthy, then Darwin Barney and Yasiel Puig. And a strike to McCarthy. Oh and 1. Pretty good sinker. No balls, 2 strikes. The outfield shallow. The left field is Seth Smith, way over. They bet the house that McCarthy could not pull a pitch from Paxton, nor hit it. So Brandon strikes out a second time. Hoisted on his own petard. And the batter now, Darwin Barney. Tapped to third, grounded to short, 0 for 2. 5 runs, 6 hits, and of the 6 hits, 4 home runs and 2 singles. And the Dodgers, 3 runs, 3 hits, 2 singles and a double. Strike to Barney, 0 and 1. Fastball in the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike. McCarthy has made 72 pitches. Paxton has made 61. Ball 2, 2-1 the count. Fastball away. 3 balls, 1 strike. Paxton walked Van Slyke twice. Second time hurt him. Fastball strike. So Barney goes deep in the count. Yasiel Puig waiting on deck. Fastball, little pop fly. Miller going out to get it and makes the catch. 2 out, Yasiel Puig coming up.
Number 66, Yasiel Puig.
And he unloads one himself. And that one is going to carry halfway up the pavilion, and that makes it 5-4 Seattle. So the Dodgers finally exchange a home run after 4 have been hit by Seattle. So Puig hit that a mile to left center. And Adrian Gonzalez coming up. So Yasiel getting the hero's welcome. 5 runs, 6 hits for Seattle. 4 runs, 4 hits for the Dodgers. See Puig holding the top of his head. Somebody zonked him pretty hard. And a strike to Adrian. Fly to center. Hit into a force play. Yasiel trying to fight his way out of a slow start. 0-1. Fastball, and that's whacked into left center field. It's over the head of Ackley, off the base of the wall. Adrian on his way to second base. He is in there, and the tying run is in scoring position. So a home run by Puig, followed by a double by Gonzalez. Boy, we've got some fireworks tonight. Ackley juggled for the moment. Adrian in there. ahead of the plate. The home run by Yasiel Puig, fastball out over the plate, and he just killed it deep into the seats in left center field. So there have been 5 home runs and 2 doubles thus far in the game. A changeup in for a strike. Wow. Puig and Darwin Barney engage in a conversation, and Adrian, the tying run at second. 0-1. 0-2. Puig still talking to Barney. Barney is 0 for 3. Puig is 2 for 3. 0-2 to Howie Kendrick. And little roller to third, foul. Kyle Seager robbed Kendrick of a base hit in the second inning, and then Kendrick doubled in the fourth. Well, Seattle led 4-0. Then it was 4-3. Then it was 5-3. Now it's 5-4. And we're only in the 5th inning. So Howie trying to pick up Gonzalez. Brandon McCarthy deep in thought, back in the game. 1-2. Kendrick hitting over 300. 2 RBIs. Fastball sliced down the right field line. Base hit. Here comes Gonzalez. The throw to the plate not in time. Into second base goes Kendrick. And we have a 5-5 tie. Five runs, 6 hits, and no errors for each team. Rick Waits, who's already been to the mound once, going back again. Kendrick got a good fastball in and down on the knees. Still doubled. So that was a great bit of hitting. That was a tough pitch. So Gonzalez scores from second on the double. And McCarthy is off the hook. Down 4-0. It's now 5-5. And the batter will be Scott Van Slyke, who has walked twice. Kendrick 2 for 3 with doubles. Kendrick, by the way, coming into the game was hitting .273 against Paxton. Down in the pen, Dominic Leone begins to warm up. So Leone getting ready as Paxton suddenly being pushed around. Scott Van Slyke has walked twice. He has scored once. And ball 1 off speed. So Paxton has given up 1 home run, but 3 doubles. Fastball on the corner. 1-1. 5-5. It was 4-0 Seattle. One and two fouled at the plate. We mentioned these teams play tough. The 14 games, they split them. Same number of hits. And here they are tonight. 5-5 each side with 6 hits. By the way, that ball hit by Kendrick, he went to second base on the throw, trying to get Gonzalez. One and two. Little ground ball to the left of Miller. He's on it, and Brad makes the play. But the Dodgers get off the deck. Score twice. Yasiel Puig really ignited it with 2 out when he hit one into left center field, halfway up the pavilion, and at the end of 5-5-5. Opening day, Giants and Dodgers. Newcomer, the O-Dog, Orlando Hudson, hit for the cycle. Started off with a single, then a home run, then a double, and the elusive triple. And with that, let's go back to this one. It is a wild one. So here now is Robinson Cano. Cano single to left, flied to left. Off to a slow start, but carries dynamite in that bat. That's a strike. 1-1 to count. He's from San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican. Originally signed by the Yankees in 2001. And a fly ball to center. This is playable. So 1 out in the 6th inning. Now here come the homers. Nelson Cruz first hits only the 25th home run he's ever hit to right field. He has over 200. And then in the 4th inning, he came up again and again went the other way. This one to right center. The Cruz with 2 home runs has 201 in his career, and we have a 5-5 tie. They watch players so closely. When you have Cruz on a 1-ball 2-strike count, you figure you've got him. His batting average on that count is just 177. However, the home run to right field in the 1st inning, that was the count. 1-2. Cano will be 33 in October. A lot of power. Going back to the Yankees in 2009, he's at 25, then 29, 28, 33, 27, and last year tailed off with 14. Chase that, down he goes. The Cruz strikes out. They finally get him after 2 big home runs. And the batter will be Kyle Seager.
Number 15, Kyle Seager.
So McCarthy gets him with a great curveball. That would be strikeout number 8 for Brandon McCarthy. Here's Seager, struck out and homered. Oh, and 1. Take the look at Seager's home run in the 4th inning. The home runs tonight, Dave, pretty well, no doubt about him. And he crushed that thing. No balls and 1 strike to Kyle Seager. That's a strike. Dodgers load him up. Not much you can do on the home runs, however. Kyle Seager, when he was 2 years old, had open heart surgery. No lingering health issues from it. One ball and 2 strikes. Goes after a bad ball, strikes out. 9 strikeouts for McCarthy. And he retires the side in order for only the 2nd time. And at the end of 5.5 innings, a 5-5 tie. Fireworks featuring the sounds of Coachella 2015. 5 runs, 6 hits, and no errors for each side. Mariners have hit 4 home runs. Dodgers have 1. So 5 home runs. Both starting pitchers are still in there. And it'll be Alex Guerrero, Jock Peterson, and then A.J. Ellis. Ground ball backhanded by Seager, and 1 pitch, 1 away. Paco Rodriguez gets up and begins to loosen up in the Dodger bullpen. So Guerrero hits the ball hard but sharply to third. Carson Smith gets up now in the Seattle bullpen. Jock Peterson grounded out, but then had a key base hit to drive in 2 in the 4th inning. So Jock has his average at .304 with a home run and 3 RBIs. Strike at the knees. Paxton is due up 4th when the Mariners hit in the 7th inning. Off the plate, 1-1. And a strike. Peterson always gets that right foot up on his toes. It's all part of the hitting mechanism. Keeps that heel off the ground, then raises the leg. 1-2 the count. Take another look. Poke that thing foul. So he's grounded out, singled, 2 RBIs. You have to have a starting point to start your swing. That's the beginning of the mechanism for him. 2-2 the count. And Justin Turner, who had a bad finger stepped on in Arizona. Now they said he's able to play, and he'll get a call to bat. 3-2 the count to Jock Peterson. And strike 3 on what he thought was ball 4. So Jim Joyce rings him up. Down goes Peterson. And the batter now, A.J. Ellis. Pretty good job of framing by Zunino. And with 2 down, A.J. Ellis. A.J. twice fly balls to right field. Right. Oh, 0-1. Another strike. Paxton hitting 96 on the gun. That's the hardest he's thrown tonight. Comes back 96. Off speed pitch and drops in for strike 3. So he picks up 2 strikeouts. Dodgers go out in order. And at the end of 6, a 5-5 tie. brought to you by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Use promo code BlueCrew for free entry. Wild ball game, 5-5 as we go to the 7th inning. Interestingly enough, the starting pitchers are still in there. Brandon McCarthy, who has struck out 9 while giving up 4 home runs, will now face Logan Morrison, Mike Zunino, and Brad Miller. Morrison single to left, struck out 1 for 2. All the way to the backstop, ball 1. Morrison off to a slow start. Of course, it's only game 7 of 162. Off speed, trying to time that. 1-1 the count. Big swing and nothing happens. 1-2 the count. McCarthy's spot is due to lead off the bottom of the 7th inning, so you certainly get the feeling this figures to be his last inning. 2-2. Ball 3. Morrison broke in against the Mets at Citi Field, and he had about 20 family members and friends. He got his first major league triple. 3-2. A little breaking ball gobbled up by McCarthy. 1 away. That'll bring up Mike Zunino, the young catcher who flied to center and struck out. Mike Zunino, when he made his major league debut last year at Yankee Stadium, all he did was come up with 4 hits. The second youngest player to have 4 hits plus in a debut at Yankee Stadium. And he wasn't feeling well. He had the flu. Good fastball. One thing about Zunino, last year he was hit 14 times by August 20th. He was leading the league in hit by pitches. Got him. So 10 strikeouts for Brandon McCarthy. He is now retired 6 in a row after the home run by Ackley in the 5th inning. And Brad Miller, who has struck out and grounded out, coming up. The men who have hit home runs have each struck out. Ackley struck out in the 3rd. Cruz struck out in the 6th. Seager struck out in the 6th. Ricky Weeks, who had a big pinch hit 3-run home run earlier this year, out on deck as a pinch hitter. 0-2. The Weeks would hit for Paxton should Brad Miller extend the inning. Five, top of the 7th, 2 out. Little foul ball down the line, way out of play. So Paxton is on the edge of coming out, and you would think McCarthy comes out for a hitter, but we'll see. Foul back. Of course, for McCarthy, it's typical, not typical to strike out 10, give up 4 home runs, but it is typical to be right around the plate. He hasn't walked anybody with 2 out in the 7th inning. The old story, if you hang around the plate a lot, you're going to get burned. Ball 1. McCarthy, over his career, I don't think he's ever walked more than 2 in a game. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Little ground ball to short. Barney is on it. That'll be that. So McCarthy, 10 strikeouts. His career high is 12. He did that in a game that he lost. And as he walks off, he's tied tonight. Bottom of the 7th, 5-5.
Pinch hitting for the Dodgers, number 11, Jimmy Rollins.
Well, it's been a wild game, and much to the delight of the crowd, a 5-5 tie in the 7th inning. Seattle going to the muscle. They've hit 4 home runs. Cruz hit 2. Seager and Ackley have homered. The Dodgers have 1 home run by Puig, a couple of doubles. So 5-5 as we go to the 7th. Jimmy Rollins will bat now for McCarthy. So Rollins had the night off as a starting player. Darwin Barney playing shortstop. But now here's Jimmy hitting .269. Fouled away, and the count 1-1. So McCarthy wound up making 98 pitches. Gave up 4 home runs, but struck out 10 and no walks. Rollins now in a 2-ball-1-strike count. Paxton a little annoyed. Meanwhile, Rick Honeycutt talking to Brandon. Strange game, but again, when you have such good control, you're on the plate all the time. Big leaguers are going to hit some out. Fastball, line drive, foul. Pedro Baez now begins to warm up in the Dodger bullpen. Just missing, because then again, if it was inside, maybe Seager might have caught it. We'll never know. Rollins with a new bat. 5 runs, 6 hits, and no errors. Robinson Cano out there at second base has 218 career home runs. That's a lot for an infielder. Jimmy Rollins has 217 home runs in the dirt. Three and 2 the count. Rollins leading off Darwin, Barney on deck. Got him. So that's 3 consecutive strikeouts for Paxton. It gives him 6. And with 1 out in the 7th inning, James will not face Barney. He's going to be called away. And Justin Turner, whom we saw loosening up, coming up. So Turner batting for Barney. So Darwin Barney comes out. Turner bats for him. The Dodgers certainly could leave Rollins in to play short for the last couple of innings. For that matter, they could leave Justin Turner in there at third base. Juan Uribe, although he did have a hamstring twinge, they say he's about ready. And now let's see, Paxton might be done as Uribe looks on. Lloyd McClendon, the skipper, making the walkout. And James Paxton leaves. Carson Smith, a right-hander, throwing in the bullpen. He'll be coming in, and we're going out. We'll be right back. At bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, statcasts, and so much more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. Carson Smith is certainly big enough to do the job. He is 6'6", about 215 pounds. Tough with the Mariners in September. Worked 8 1/3 innings after being called up. Did not give up a thing. So Carson Smith picking up for James Paxton. Paxton made 95 pitches. Had a 4-0 lead. He couldn't hold on to it, and he goes out 5-5. So he is not responsible. So Barney 0 for 3. Turner, meanwhile, ball 1. Barney had grounded to third, grounded to short, popped to short. So here's Turner. Carson Smith was signed just 2 years ago, and he's already pitched in the big leagues. That's a strike, 1-1. He was the minor league pitcher of the year for the Mariners in 2013. High foul, doubtful. The angle means it's coming back into the crowd. 1-2 the count. So Turner giving it a battle, 1-2. 5-5, bottom of the 7th. Had 5 home runs in the game, 4 by the Mariners. And yet Brandon McCarthy struck out 10, did not walk anybody. Home runs, 2 by Nelson Cruz, 1 by Ackley, 1 by Seager. 2-2 the count. Carson Smith from Midland Christian High School, attended Texas State University, working on Justin Turner. 2-2. High fly ball to center and deep. Back goes Ackley, turning and picks it off. So an out to center by Turner, and that will bring up Yasiel Puig.
Number 66.
Yasiel Puig grounded out, singled and homered, and the home run came on the first pitch tonight. If he puts the first pitch in play, he's usually very, very successful. 14 of his 37 career home runs have come on the first pitch. In his career, putting that first pitch in play, hitting .435. So let's see. Fastball off the plate. Take a look at that home run that came in the 5th inning. There's no doubt about it. Halfway up the pavilion. 1 ball and no strikes. 1-1. Waiting on deck, Adrian Gonzalez. Two and 1 the count to Yasiel. Carson Smith, born in Dallas, Texan all the way. Looked like a cutter or a slider, probably a slider at 84. A little late jump to it. Yasiel got a little bit of that foul ball. You can see that hurt. So Yasiel got it on the instep of that left foot. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, bases empty, 5-5, and we're in the bottom of the 7th. Wow. Fastball at the kneecap, 3-2. So once you foul the ball off your foot, next thing you know, you have to get out of there in a hurry. 3-2 to Yasiel. Breaking ball whacked into right center. Up with it is Cruz. Yasiel will hold. So it looked like he hit a slider on a 3-2 pitch, and he just stayed on the ball. He wasn't interested in pulling it. He went after the break and just slapped it into right center. So that'll bring up Adrian Gonzalez. Yasiel Puig with 3 hits tonight, 2 singles and a home run. Charlie Furbish, a left-hander, is in the pen. But after Gonzalez, you have Kendrick, Van Slyke, and Guerrero, all right-hand batters. You have to get down to the number 7 spot to see left-handed Jock Peterson. So with 2 out, Puig at first and Adrian at the plate. Cano on the rim and looking over to the bench. Shall I back up some more? And they say no, that's far enough. Puig, of course, representing a tiebreaker. He is 0 for 1 stolen bases so far. 5-5 tie. 2 out, 7th inning. Now Cano again looks, and they tell him go back. So he's back out maybe 10 feet on the grass in right field. Now he's coming back in. I think what they're going to do is have a little meeting with the infield. Lloyd McClendon, the manager, is a legend in Little League history. That's going to do it. They're going to make a change. The thing about McClendon, in 1971, he was on the Indiana Little League team, went to the finals and lost the Little League to Taiwan. He was 12 years old, and he went 5 for 5 in the series. 5 for 5. They were all home runs. We'll be back right after this. School at LSU. Charlie is big enough, certainly, 6'5", 215. Just turned 29. Originally drafted by the Tigers. Came up to the Tigers in 2011 and then came over to the Mariners. Adrian Gonzalez has faced Furbish in the past. He's 4 for 7 against Charlie, all singles. Yasiel Puig at first with 2 out. And Furbish now locked in with Gonzalez. Dominic Leone, the right-hander, up for a second time in the Mariner bullpen. Curveball for ball 1. Adrian knows the book on Furbish. Fastball, kind of a slurvy slider. That was it. Looked more like a curve. He has a cutter and a changeup. Puig at first with 2 out. Big bouncer to Morrison, and that'll be that. So the Dodgers get a 2-out single by Puig and leave him. And at the end of 7, we're still locked in at 5. 5-5 as we go to the 8th inning. Fine sports writer Bill Shaken of the Times sends us a note that McCarthy tonight became the first pitcher in Major League Baseball history to have a game with 10 strikeouts, no walks, and 4 home runs allowed. Pedro Baez now will pick up for McCarthy. And Ricky Weeks, who for years and years was the favorite of the Milwaukee Brewers, now coming up. Actually, Ricky's first experience with the Brewers was back in 2003. And outside of a little time in the minor leagues in Nashville, he's been with the Brewers all that time. First round pick by the Brewers out of Southern University. Ricky's had some wonderful years, and he has power. A couple of years ago, he had 29 home runs. Just recently, he had a 3-run pinch hit home run. So Baez has to be very careful. Ricky 5'10", 220. He'll be 33 in September. Fouled away. Ricky Weeks, and in those days his teammate Prince Fielder, they knew each other since they were about 11 years old. They were on an AAU baseball team in Orlando. Prince was the first baseman. Ricky was the second baseman. And they worked all the way through the minor leagues, and each have had a wonderful career. 0-2. Ricky's trademark has always been the waggle of the bat. People always say when he waggles it, it makes them think of Gary Sheffield. See how much of a waggle he has left. Yeah, a little bit. Couple. Fouled out of play. Ricky was really something in college. He led Division I teams in batting average, slugging. One year he hit .492, and the next year he hit .479. Stole 65 out of 66 attempts. I mean, he was incredible. Check, ball 1. In the Dodger bullpen, Paco Rodriguez is up again. By the way, when you look at the box score tonight, you see 4 home runs for Seattle, 1 home run for the Dodgers, total of 5. The record for home runs in a game at Dodger Stadium, 9 back in 2003. Check, got him. The Ricky is called out on a check swing. That means 11 Mariners have struck out.
Number 13.
Getting back to the record of home runs, in July of 2003, the Cardinals hit 4 home runs. The Dodgers hit 5. Cardinals won that game 10-7. And among those hitting home runs, Ricky Henderson, Scott Rowland, Adrian Beltre, and a fellow named Albert Pujols. Dustin Ackley has grounded out, struck out, and homered. Dominic Leone up again in the pen. One ball and no strikes. Ackley with his home run in the 5th inning means going back to the end of last year, he has now hit safely in 10 straight. Once upon a time a second baseman, but Dustin's playing a lot of center field. Two balls and no strikes. And ball 3. Seth Smith, left-hand hitter on deck. 7 of the starting 9 batting left-handed in the Mariners lineup. Though McClendon has them stocked for power, and it's produced 4 home runs. In there, 3-1. Ackley, a first-round pick out of North Carolina. Just turned 27. 3-2. On deck, another left-hand batter, so Baez's job is right there in front of him. 3-2. And ball 4. Among other things, by walking Ackley,
Number 7.
it could very well be, unless there's a double play ball from Seth Smith, he's going to have to pitch to Robinson Cano, or would he? Cano's a left-hand hitter, and Paco Rodriguez in the pen. And Rick Honeycutt wants to make sure that Paco is ready. He better be ready if they bring him in against Robinson Cano. Ackley in the past has not been a stolen base player. And strike. Ackley had 8 stolen bases. Of course, the manager also might like the idea, well, Gonzalez is holding on the bag. There's a hole on the right side for my left-hand hitter. Smith has flied deep to left, grounded to short, did pull one ball and flied to right. And a fly ball to right center. Peterson calling. All right. Now let's see. Will Baez stay in to face Cano? Waiting, watching. Ellis to the mound to talk to Pedro. Whatever he said makes Baez smile. Mattingly is coming up the steps. So you wonder, well, why would he have Paco Rodriguez warming up with Cano coming up? And that's it. So Paco is coming in. Cano against left-hand pitching this year is 0 for 10. So hold on to your hats and we'll be right back. Well, it's a moment of truth for Paco Rodriguez. All you have to do is know that he has struggled with an ERA of over 13. out of proportion, of course, this early, but he's up to a big battle now with Robinson Cano. Cano might be 0 for 10 against left-hand pitching this year. However, in his career, he's a .289 hitter against left-handers and 59 home runs against left-handers. So here comes Cano. And if you try to be too careful and walk him, then you have Nelson Cruz. So Cruz waits as Cano checks in. 2 down, 8th inning, 5-5. Cano has good genes. His dad made it to the big leagues. Throw to first, close. Ackley just did get back. Cano's father played briefly with the Astros, 1989, and pitched professionally for the Yankees and Braves. And a strike. Cano will be 33 the end of October. Signed by the Yankees 2001. One and one. On the hands, foul back, 1-2. Yimi Garcia, right-hander, throwing in the Dodger bullpen. Though they are asking Rodriguez to get Cano, and then Yimi would be ready to go after Nelson Cruz if that happens. 2 out, 1-2. Two and two. Cano up there in a big spot, especially with Cruz behind him. Chased a bad ball and strikes out. So Robinson Cano chasing the curveball in the dirt. Nice job by Paco Rodriguez. That means 12 Mariners have struck out tonight, and we're heading to the bottom of the 8th in a 5-5 tie. What's ahead for the Dodgers? A lot of hard work. Seattle will be here tomorrow night, then again Wednesday night. Thursday, the off day, and then the somewhat red-hot Colorado Rockies will be coming in. So the Dodgers with some good ball games on the horizon. Hope you'll be out here and join with us. Meanwhile, a meeting at the mound. Dominic Leone becomes the fourth pitcher for Seattle. The outfield moves around a little bit. Ackley, who started in center, is now in left. Ruggiano is now in center. Cruz remains in right. And Dominic Leone, a right-hander, be 24 in October, so pretty young. 5'11", 210. A Connecticut boy who's had a total of 1 year service. Came up last year and was very successful. He was 8-2. So Howie Kendrick, robbed of a hit, doubled and singled, 2 for 3. Foul ball, 0-1. Seager, guarding the line on Kendrick, took a base hit away from him in the second inning. And he's doubled and singled since, and strokes one to center. Ruggiano will make the catch. Well, just coming into the game, makes a good running catch, one away. Carl Crawford now will come off the Dodger bench, and he will bat for Van Slyke. Little flare. And for Ruggiano, just getting into the game, he was able to come up and make the catch for the out. Nice play. Ruggiano was with the Dodgers back in 2006. He was drafted by the Dodgers in 2004 out of Texas A&M. So Crawford, no balls, 1 strike, hitting .278. In the Dodger bullpen, Joel Peralta begins to loosen up. Crawford chasing one in the ditch. 0-2. High foul ball, out of play. When the Mariners come up in the top of the 9th inning, they will have Nelson Cruz, who has 2 home runs, followed by Kyle Seager, who has 1 home run, and then Logan Morrison, who has a single. 1-2, the count to Crawford. Again, low, check, no swing. So it's been Paxton, Smith, Furbish, and now Leone. Leone went to school at Clemson. He was a teammate of the shortstop, Brad Miller. Little ground ball, gloved by Morrison. Throws to first in time. Pretty play. 2 down. Take another look. Morrison making a good play. Had to turn his back on the infield and then spot the throw, and he was right on the money. Nice big league play. They practice it so often, and it's nice to see it executed. Alex Guerrero struck out, flied to right, grounded to third. Fly ball to right in the 4th inning picked up a run. It then advanced 2 other runners, and they pitched to Peterson, who drove in both to get the Dodgers right back into the game. That was the 3-run 4th inning. Fastball hit to Miller. All right, Dodgers go quietly. Here comes Cruz, followed by Seager and then Morrison. We are heading for the 9th inning in a 5-5 tie. have come true tonight. We talked about how even they have been. In 14 previous meetings, they've each won 7. They've each piled up 121 hits. The Marlins in those 14 games scored 62 runs to the Dodgers 61. So Nelson Cruz came up in the first inning and promptly connected, and to right field with over 200 home runs, only the 25th the other way. And then in the 4th inning, he came up and went the other way again toward right center, carried into the pavilion just over the wall. So he's a remarkable hitter. He had 40 home runs last year. They'll handle with care now for Peralta. Peralta has faced a lot of the Mariners. Off-speed breaking ball for a strike. Nelson Cruz is 4 for 10 against Peralta. That's a .400 batting average with 1 home run. On 1. And a mile-high pop fly. It's going to be third baseman Guerrero to make the catch. So Cruz, a towering pop fly, 1 away in the 9th inning. So this is the 15th meeting, and they're as even as you can expect, 5-5. Dodgers have 1 more hit, and the Mariners have 4 home runs to the Dodger 1. Kyle Seager struck out in the first inning, homered in the 4th, and struck out in the 6th. He is also 0 for 9 against Peralta. Peralta, 39 years old. Slow and high, ball 1. The paid attendance, 42,202. 42,202. Another off-speed breaking ball, but that stayed up. 2-0 the count. Peralta with a great splitter. He also has fastball, slider. Fastball, first strike. Peralta has been very effective against left-handers. And whacked into right. Puig on the dead run and picks it off. Yasiel got a good jump there to catch it. So the last base hit by the Mariners, you have to go back to the 5th inning, and it was a home run by Ackley.
Number 20.
Since that time, they've had 1 base runner, a walk. So here's Logan Morrison, single to left, struck out, hit back to the box, 1-4-3. When the Dodgers come up in the bottom of the 9th, Peterson, Ellis, and Rollins. Roller foul, 0-1. For the Mariners, they were out in front 4-0 in the 4th inning. The Dodgers rallied for 3. Mariners got 1 to make it 5-3. Dodgers came back with 2, led by a home run by Puig, to tie it up 5-5, and here we are in the 9th inning. Gonzalez has a setup double. 0-2 the count. and a foul ball out of play. So it's been McCarthy, Baez, Rodriguez, and Peralta. And for the Mariners, Paxton, Smith, Furbish, and Leon. Two out, top of the ninth. Breaking ball. He just did get a piece of that. McCarthy struck out 10. Baez got one. Rodriguez got one. So 12 Mariners have struck out, and 12 Mariners tonight have been carrying no ball, 2 strike counts. So they've been in a hole most of the night, but not in the first 5 innings when they hit the 4 home runs. No balls and 2 strikes. Got him. So the Mariners go down in order in the top of the 9th inning. And here come the Dodgers in the bottom of the 9th. Jock Peterson, A.J. Ellis, and Jimmy Rollins. We'll be back. In a 5-5 tie, Jock Peterson will start it off. Then A.J. Ellis due to follow, and he will not be the hitter. We'll see about Ellis coming out of the dugout. Yep, now he comes. So Peterson, Ellis, and Rollins in that order. Peralta made 11 pitches to retire the side in order in the top of the 9th inning. Interesting note. The Mariners have not had an at-bat with a runner in scoring position, and yet they have 5 runs. They have 4 home runs, and one of them with a man aboard. So, okay, here's Peterson. He's had a big at-bat, singled in 2 in the 4th inning. That was against left-hander James Paxton. Check, no swing. Chad Fairchild on the line at third. 1 ball and no strikes to Jock. Andre Ethier looks like he's getting ready, perhaps to hit for Ellis. Little roller up along first base. Morrison on the bag. So Peterson taps out. 1 down, and here comes A.J. Ellis.
17, A.J. Ellis.
So Andre Ethier might have been getting ready, but he's not going to see any action. Ellis coming up, and Jimmy Rollins is hitting 9th, having batted for McCarthy. Ball 1. Ellis 2 fly balls to right and struck out. All those at bats were against the starter, Paxton. Leon kind of pitches in a hurry. 2 balls and no strikes. Fastball, half swing. Jimmy Garcia is up throwing in the pen again. If the Dodgers fail to score, perhaps he will pitch the 10th inning rather than ask Peralta to pitch more than 1 inning. 2-1. Little bouncer by the glove of Leon. Cano right there to back up. 2 down. And Jimmy Rollins the batter. Darwin Barney started the game at shortstop to give Jimmy Rollins a rest. Barney went 0 for 3. Rollins now will batted from McCarthy, stayed in the game. Andre Ethier now comes out on deck. He would bat. Remember, the pitcher is in the leadoff spot. So 2 out. Jimmy at the plate. Ball 1. So Miller and Cano are on the rim. Morrison is going steady with the right field foul line, and Seager is right at the bag. And a huge gap in left center field. Ackley very deep in left. Ruggiano shading into right center. One and 1. And ball 2, 2-1. We're in the 9th inning in a 5-5 tie. Three and 1. Mattingly using 4 pitchers and 3 pinch hitters so far. High drive into left center field. Ackley is right there, however, on the track. And that'll do it for Rollins. A long out to left field. So the Dodgers go down. They've had 1 hit since the 5th inning. So the offense has stopped dead in the water. And at the end of 9, a 5-5 tie. Meanwhile, Yimi Garcia now comes in to be the 5th Dodger pitcher. He had McCarthy for 7, followed by Baez, then Rodriguez and Peralta. Andre Ethier is now at first base. check me. They're going to put him in the outfield. He's going to go to center field. Though they will put the pitcher's spot in Peterson. Ethier will have a chance to get in that bat leading off the inning. So Yimi Garcia be facing Zunino, Miller, and then the pitcher's spot. Zunino is 0 for 3. Fly to center, struck out twice. One ball, one strike. We're in the 10th, 5-5. Game has been tied since the 5th inning. Since the 5th inning, Mariners have not had a hit. Since the 5th inning, the Dodgers have 1 hit. So Lloyd has used 4 pitchers, having seen a 4-0 lead go out the window. Dodgers are 0-1 in extra innings. The Mariners are 2-0. Won 2 straight against Oakland. Two and two with a fine young catcher, Mike Zunino. Waiting on deck, Brad Miller. Fastball got him. So Garcia picks up a strikeout. Every Dodger pitcher, McCarthy had 10. Baez has 1. Rodriguez 1. Peralta 1. And now Garcia joins the club. Yimi hitting 94 on the gun to blow Zunino away. So 14 Mariners have been struck out thus far. Here's Miller. He has struck out once. He is 0 for 3. And ball 1. I remember when Frank Robinson played for the Cincinnati Reds. Somebody took at Robbie's stockings and said he must have jumped out of the 3rd floor window into the stockings in order for the stirrups to be so pulled up. And when you see Brad Miller and you look at the way he wears his socks, that's the first thing you think of. They are really pulled up tight. You could play banjo on those probably. 2-0. And ball 3. Miller is 6-2. In there. Yimi Garcia from Mocha in the Dominican Republic. Was in 8 games last year for the Dodgers. 3-1. And pop foul, no play. Back in the stands, 3-2 the count. Miller, a 2nd round pick out of Clemson. And ground ball to short. Jimmy's on it. So 2 down here in the 10th inning. So Rollins handles it easily.
Number 12, Justin Ruggiano.
Now here's Ruggiano hitting in the number 9 slot. Ruggiano from Austin, Texas. The Dodgers drafted him in the 25th round back in 2004. He never made it to the Dodgers. He did wind up with the Devil Rays and eventually the Marlins and the Cubs. Foul back. He has some power. He had 18 home runs for the Marlins in 2013. 6'2", 205 pounds, 33 years old. When was he 33? Yesterday. So we have a birthday boy. One ball and two strikes. Goes after a pitch up, strikes out. So for Garcia, a nice inning. He strikes out 2, and that means 15 Mariners have struck out. And we're heading to the bottom of the 10th, 5-5. Bottom of the 10th inning here at Dodger Stadium in a 5-5 tie. Meanwhile, Arizona leading San Diego comfortably. The Giants lost again. Colorado leading the West with a record now of 5-2, and the Rockies, by beating the Giants today, snapped a little 2-game losing streak. So Andre Ethier is in the leadoff spot, coming in with Garcia, and Andre playing center field. So Ethier, not much of a chance to play, 2 for 10. There's a couple of walks, and he has struck out 3 times. And he promptly drives it to the gap in right center on the dead run as it gets by Cruz, and into second base with a double goes Ethier. And the winning run is out there with nobody out. Andre got a fastball at the knees, and he was all over it. Cruz and Ruggiano. Cruz tried to reach it, couldn't do it. Ruggiano played the carom off the wall. So now Ethier at second base, and Yasiel Puig coming up. For the Dodgers, that would be their 3rd double, and they have Puig's home run. So let's see what they do with Yasiel now. Big gap. There's nobody really at shortstop. Miller is directly behind Ethier, and Seager holding the bag near third. and ground foul. Tyler Olson, a left-hander, gets up in the Mariner bullpen. He would be brought in apparently to face Adrian Gonzalez. 0-1 the count. Now Olson is joined by a right-hander, Yarvis Medina. No balls and 1 strike. Bad ball. Puig gone after it. Perhaps he had on his mind maybe trying to hit that outside pitch to the right side. That might also be generous thinking. He was just fooled. 0-2. Gonzalez waits. Of course, they can always put him aboard. Ethier at second with Miller right on his back. In the dirt. Nice save by Zunino. 5 runs, 8 hits for the Dodgers. 5 runs, 6 hits for Seattle. The Mariners led 4-0. And the Dodgers scratch back. And a bouncer back to the box. They'll get the out. But Puig unable to advance. And Ethier holding with 1 out. Now with Gonzalez coming up, you wonder if they would bother pitching to him. We'll watch Zunino. If he just stays erect behind the plate, they're not going to pitch to him. They're going to walk him intentionally. So here come 4 wide ones to Adrian, which figured. And in a moment, Howie Kendrick will be coming up. Kendrick grounded to third. Actually, Seager robbed him. Then he doubled and singled and flied to center. So Kendrick is 2 for 4 with a chance to win the game in the bottom of the 10th inning. For Gonzalez, the way he started off the year, you figure he's going to get some intentional walks. This is the 2nd intentional walk and the 5th walk that he's gotten already this year. So all right, 1st and 2nd, 1 out, and Howie Kendrick will be facing Leon maybe. Lloyd McClendon going out to the mound, and let's see. He has a left-hander and a right-hander in the pen. And McClendon holding court. Lloyd's from Gary, Indiana, and was originally drafted by the Mets. 56 years old in January. So he's holding court. Certainly no change. So it's up to Leon. So it's also up to Howie Kendrick. Howie Kendrick, before 42,202, has a chance to win the game. Ethier at second, Gonzalez at first, and Crawford on deck. Ball 1. So Paxton, followed by Smith, followed by Furbish, followed by Dominic Leone. 5-5 in the 10th. Fastball, sliced foul down the line, heading towards the stands and back in. Kendrick lost a hit on a fine play in the 2nd inning by Kyle Seager, but then doubled in the 4th. That set up a 3-run inning. He singled in the 5th, and last time up, flied to center. So it's Ethier carrying the mail out there. 1-1. Nice save. That thing could have gone to the backstop. 2 balls and 1 strike. Zunino, whom we've never seen before, very impressive, very quick behind the plate. 2-1. And ball 3. And Crawford, waiting on deck, got into the game as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning and stayed in. 3-1 to Kendrick. Fastball check, swing, says first base umpire Greg Gibson. 3-2 with 1 out. Take another look. Couldn't hold that bat back. So it's a big pitch. The runners you would expect to hold. They do. And ball 4 to load them up. So the Dodgers have the winning run 90 feet away, and here comes McClendon, and he is heading for the plate umpire, which usually means a double switch, and that's what he's going to do, I believe. So the Dodgers have the bases loaded with 1 out. Carl Crawford will be the batter. Austin Jackson is heading for the outfield for center field. Ruggiano will be coming out. They'll put Jackson in for Ruggiano. And we'll be right back. Mariners. Tyler Olson is brought in to do the pitching. He will bat 9th. And Austin Jackson, who spent a long time with the Tigers, is now in center field, replacing Ruggiano. So if there is an 11th inning, Jackson will lead it off. So Carl Crawford and Olson about ready to pitch. Crawford got into the game as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning for Van Slyke and grounded out. So it'll be left-hander against left-hander. Olson, from the state of Washington, born in Spokane. So the infield right now about halfway. Ethe is the guy, 90 feet away, 1 out. Gonzalez at second, Kendrick at first, and the first pitch, 0-1. Tyler Olson, inheriting this tough spot, was originally selected by Oakland, played college ball at Gonzaga University. Tyler's 25 years old. 0-1 to Carl Crawford. Another big breaking ball. 1-1 to count. Alex Guerrero is on deck. Olson's only been a pro since 2013. Breaking ball for a strike. So he's gotten 3 curveballs, all in the middle 70s. Ethier, Gonzalez, and Kendrick all out there on the baselines. 5-5, bottom of the 10th, 1 out. Another breaking ball. So everything's sidearm, breaking down and away. Smith, Furbish, Leon, and Olson all following Paxton. Baez, Rodriguez, Peralta, and Garcia following McCarthy. Infield now about halfway. And breaking ball down and away. It didn't look like a strike. Every pitch was a breaking ball down and away. And Crawford strikes out. Not even close to the strike zone. So 2 out, big clutch strikeout for Olson. And the batter now will be Alex Guerrero. Guerrero coming off a big game in Arizona where he had 3 hits, 4 RBIs, including a home run. But he's been brought down to earth. He has struck out, fly to right, 2 ground balls. The fly ball did get him an RBI and move the runners up. So 2 out, bases loaded, infield back to a normal depth. Slow breaking ball. Everything is in the 70s. They haven't seen a fastball. Crawford saw nothing but sidearm curves, and the first pitch to Alex, a breaking ball. There's the fastball. That's the first one we've seen. 89 miles an hour. The boy, Tyler Olson, a pro for 2 years, comes in with the bases loaded to strike out Crawford and comes right back 0-2, and he's thrown 1 fastball in 7 pitches. There's that breaking ball. Yasmani Grandal comes out on deck, but pretty hard for Grandal to have an at-bat. You have to follow the rules. Somebody has to be in the on-deck circle, but with the bases loaded and 2 out, it's up to Guerrero. Another breaking ball and another pitch in the middle 70s. So never mind the speed gun with Tyler Olson. 1 breaking ball after another. The young pitcher did very well with Crawford. Now he has to count his way against Guerrero with 42,000 waiting to see what happens. Fastball and almost hit him. Take one for the club there and you turn the lights out. So it's only the 2nd fastball that he has thrown. So 8 breaking balls out of 10 pitches. Deuces are wild. More than that. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, and 3 on. Fastball hit to the gap in right center. Base hit. That's it. Dodgers win it 6-5. So he didn't have enough faith to throw that curveball yet again. And he throws the 3rd fastball in the entire sequence. And Guerrero rams a base hit, and the Dodgers pull it out. Dodgers 6 runs, 9 hits, and no errors. For Seattle, 5 runs, 6 hits, and no errors. And for Alex Guerrero, That base hit on the fastball to win the game. And Alex, picking up where he left off, kind of shakes his head sheepishly. Take another look. Fastball, and he whacked it into right center field. So Epia brings the home run, and the Dodgers, who were down 4-0, come back and win it 6-5, despite 4 home runs by the Seattle Mariners. So they play each other so tough. Hope you'll be out here with us tomorrow night. Till then, good night, everybody.